Everyone. Today's session is remarkable as we are seeing that we have two fundamental factors which are helping the equities, and as we had talked in yesterday's session also, the NASDAQ is of particular interest for us, and here we are seeing fresh buying on the lower side, and as I said, this is being helped by the two factors, and one of these is the OECD forecast, in which we have seen the revision, and now the OECD is expecting the world growth rate to be of around 5.6% for the financial year 2021 compared to its earlier forecast of 4.2%. So that's a huge bump in the forecasting of growth rate, and one of the factors behind this upward revision is the passage of US stimulus bills of around $1.9 trillion dollars, and that itself is likely to boost the world growth rate by around 1 percentage point. And as a result of that, we have seen substantial buying momentum in the most of the equity indices around the world. And for us, the equity index related to the tech sector, which is the NASDAQ, is going to be of the prime importance. And even in yesterday's session, as I remember, I had talked about the possible revival there. And as anticipated, it is taking place. And in today's session, I think even though it is now trading more than 2 percentage point higher, still, if we are fortunate enough to get the entry points closer to the optimum levels, I think even for next couple of days, the momentum is likely to remain on the bullish side. So we will see if there are some opportunities emerging in today's session. Apart from the OECD forecast, one of the other important development is the weakening of dollar in today's session, and that is happening after the US Treasury yields have softened somewhat. There is not much moderation, but still these are trading lower compared to last couple of days, and that has helped the other financial assets to rebound against the US dollar, and that is also one of the theme for today's session. On the data docket, we didn't really get major releases for the day, and for the US, it is almost blank. And if you look at the slate for the Euro area, there we had these employment numbers for the third quarter of this year, and we are seeing we have this employment change which is in negative territory still. If we look at it from the point of view of year on year, the figure stands at minus 1.9%. That is pretty much expected, as the economy is far off from what it were in the pre-pandemic days, and this will take at least a year or two for the economy to recover and reach higher levels. But quarter on quarter, the growth rate is there at around 0.3%. It is a lot lower than the prior quarter's number, but still it is in positive territory, and that is something to take heart from. Now let's shift our attention to the technical segment, where the technical outlook of Nasdaq is what we will see first, and then we will also consider the commodity segment, where the bullion, the gold, is of importance for us. Let's start with the Nasdaq's technical outlook. It is the daily time frame chart, and as I had talked in yesterday's session, the Nasdaq has found support on the lower side closer to the 12,300 level. In yesterday's session, after initial bump on the higher side, it gave up all the gains and went on to close on the lower side and fairly close to its prior day's low. But from there on, it has seen sharp revival. And in today's session, as I said earlier, also it is now trading more than 2 percentage point higher. And even on these levels, I think the price trajectory is looking bullish only, and we can expect further gains in today's session, or even for next couple of sessions. The trajectory is likely to be more in favor of bulls rather than bears, as we have this consolidation behind us now. And if we do see the breakout above the immediate swing highs, then I think that opens up the path for the Nasdaq to cross even above the 13,000 levels in next couple of days. So we will see what we can do in these changing circumstances, changing scenario for the NASDAQ. And for us, the immediate hurdle is going to be closer to these prior swing highs, and that's where the NASDAQ is trading right now. And if in today's session, if we do see a close above this prior swing high levels, anywhere closer to the 12,800, then I think that will be a strong signal for the bulls to get on the bandwagon, and then I think we can expect this rally to at least extend toward this central pivot point, which is there around 13,200. We also have this prior swing high, so this can be the area which is likely to act as the near term resistance, but for that we will need the growth of around 3 percentage point even from the current level. So we do have the upside left in the Nasdaq, even if we are looking to get involved in the Nasdaq after this sharp reversal on the lower side. So mostly we will now have to rely on the lower time frame charging and these price action levels to guide us in our endeavor to profit in the Nasdaq's possible upside momentum. And if you consider this regression curve, now the price action has moved above this upper band of this regression curve, and as a result of that, if the price action sustains in this territory, I think we are likely to see more flattening of the regression curve in next couple of sessions, and that will be more conducive for the buy trade. And on the lower side we have this marker of around 12,400, which can be used as a level to watch out for. As long as the Nasdaq is trading well above it, I think we can be inclined to look for the buying opportunities only, and if we get the break on the lower side, then maybe we can change our mind, but for the time being the things are looking a lot favorable to the buy trade. So in near term, I think we can utilize this confluence of 50 and 100 SMA, and right now, the Nasdaq is headed toward this 200 SMA zone, and these prior swing highs are likely to be broken. So we will have a fresh breakout, and if the Nasdaq is able to cross and hold above this immediate hurdle of 200 SMA, then I think we will have more reasons to believe in the continuation of this upward momentum in Nasdaq, and in that scenario, I think we can use this confluence of 50 and 100 SMA. So as long as Nasdaq is holding well above this confluence area, we can continue to look for buying opportunities after due consolidation. Now that Nasdaq has already rallied in today's session, so it will be a bit tougher. If you had gone in for the trade in yesterday's session, you might be sitting on some profit if you had kept this prior swing low areas as your stop loss, and we did get very close to that, but then the revival happened after the buying momentum came back. Now in today's session, as the formation is now becoming of higher highs, and I am expecting the higher low to be formed. So if you don't really want to get involved on these levels, then you can wait it out for some correction from the current levels. And as I said, we can use this confluence zone of around of 50 and 100 SMA, and this on the higher side, the break above 200 SMA can be expected in today's session or next couple of sessions, and then I'm expecting the Nasdaq to continue its upward momentum at least till next resistance zone, which is there around 13,200. Now let's see what's happening in the bullion, the gold. This is the daily time frame chart, and as US Treasury yields have slackened somewhat, we are seeing some buying on the lower side for the gold after it got closer to the US dollar 1680 levels. And now, after these gains in today's session, it has again climbed above the US dollar 1700 mark. And I think for next couple of sessions, it is not really likely to decline further, but instead it might show some retracement. I'm not really talking about turnaround from the longer term perspective, but some retracement can't really be ruled out as gold has already fallen substantially from its prior highs, and now we might expect it to retrace to around US dollar 1770 or closer to the US dollar 1800 mark. So if we are looking for some buying opportunities in the gold, I think we will have to keep in mind the price level of around US dollar 1700 per ounce, and as long as it is holding well above the psychologically important level, I think we can continue to look for the buy trade while keeping the stop loss anywhere closer to this immediate swing low. This first support of this month's pivot point series. So if you are going in for the long trade anywhere in the price band of US dollar 1700, you can use this level, and it is not really far off. So the stop loss is also not going to be much wider. And on the higher side, we can expect these retracement in due course of time to get closer to the central pivot point. And that's what it looks like if we consider this break in this formation of lower highs. This time around, the higher high has been formed. Of course, we will have to wait for the further confirmation with the formation of higher low, and maybe if we do get some correction from the current level and then do consolidation above these prior swing low, then at that point in time we will have a much better technical formation with the higher highs and higher lows, which will be much more confidence boosting for the possible buy trade in the gold. So here also, just like the case with NASDAQ, we will have to rely on the confluence of 50 and 100 SMA. And as long as the gold is holding above this confluence area, we can continue to look for the buying opportunity. And here also, the formation is not much different. The prior swing high has been broken, and now the gold is approaching this 200 SMA price zone, and I am expecting the gold to consolidate somewhat, and it might not really be able to break above this immediate resistance in one go, but maybe after due correction, it might show some consolidation and start its upward journey once again, and that might be the time to get involved for the fresh long positions with the stop loss being fairly sharp, as we don't really have to keep much wide stop loss, given the fact that some key levels which we can use as a marker for our trading are close enough to keep a sharp stop loss. So that's it from my side for today's session. If any of you have any query or any idea to share, you can write to me in the feedback section, and I will be more than happy to take the discussion forward. Before I sign off, I would also like to remind of the risk associated with trading in the financial instrument, and one should be careful while using the information provided. Have a fabulous day ahead. See you next time. Till then, goodbye. And of course,